flight into the dangerous world of a man who does not exist. A young loner on a crusade to champion the cause of the innocent, the helpless, the powerless, in a world of criminals who operate above the law.
Hey, it's me, and welcome to this video. You know, the FBI gave an update, and they did so in a call to all these media outlets. In other words, they have their story, and they want to spread it to the media so that it becomes reality. Like, that's what happened. And of course, I'm talking about the attempted assassination on President Trump, which Google is trying to hide from people out there, just like they're hiding this channel and my videos and many of your comments. But the story, even though it seems like they went through a lot of details, is missing a whole lot of stuff. And they also sabotaged their own investigation by 24 hours after the event, saying that this guy acted alone even before they had investigated everything. They already concluded that he acted alone, so the rest of the investigation is about how he acted alone, but that he acted alone. Now, of course, that's a big no-no if you're going to do a real investigation, but of course they're not interested in a real investigation. They're interested in a story where we're talking about a lone gunman. Okay, just like the Oswald story where he was the lone gunman and they ignored everything else until other people brought it up later on. But still, after many decades, we still don't know the whole truth, even though it's available. And we could find out if President Trump makes it to the White House or in the near future. We'll see. But how about this story? Okay, what are they really saying? Basically, the story is that this guy, and of course they had the picture of him when he's like a kid or 13 years old or whatnot, ready to send to all the media, right? So that was the beginning of the cover-up or the story. But he doesn't look like that. You know, he has long hair. He looks like a freak. And he's, according to the FBI, a very intelligent man. You know, like a genius level guy who also was an expert in cyber hacking and purchasing explosives and firearms via encrypted websites and using aliases. I mean, we're talking about somebody who is like maybe the master criminal of this century so far, like the number one. I mean, that's how they were painting this guy as being some kind of a genius. And they, of course, come out with a story that misses a whole lot of stuff. It doesn't address the 351 bullet theory, which you can find on my channel, the last video. It also doesn't address whether the AR-15 had a scope or not. This is something Chris Wray pretended like he didn't know about in the hearing. And then they have a bogus story that he was carrying this AR-15 in a backpack, and because it had a collapsible stock, they said, it could suddenly fit in a backpack, and he was walking around with it. But there's no footage of that. There's no evidence of that. And there's more evidence that the AR-15 and the backpack were on the rooftop waiting for him. And then they talked about explosive devices. Now, this is the one that really sounds very suspicious, especially if you know the details about the frame-up with the Whitmer kidnapping plot. And also, of course, January the 5th and January the 6th, the pipe bomb guy, where you had dummy bombs with egg timers that were placed there, and Camille Harris was there. She didn't even talk about it. Even today, she doesn't talk about it. Why? If she was nearly assassinated, why wouldn't she talk about that IED? Because, of course, everybody knows those were dummy bombs. And who was placing them? Don't tell me Crooks was the one, the pipe bomb guy, right? Imagine the coincidence. But that's actually possible. And now he's dead. Now, the explosive devices they were talking about, they said they found one at home which was not functional. Okay, so let's say that's a dummy bomb. And maybe it looked exactly like the ones that were found on January the 6th, 2021, right? Like just some pipe with an egg timer. Hey, look, it's a bomb, but it's not functional. Of course, it's just a pipe and an egg timer, right? But they talked about explosive devices in his car, and they call it IEDs. Obviously, they want to connect it to Iran. That's why they're saying IEDs. And they were not turned on. I don't even know what that means, but they also said that he had a detonator on the rooftop and that he was able to set off the bombs if he wanted. But then they say they were not turned on in the car. So they're trying to kind of give cover for that these cars were not checked, that these explosive devices were at a rally endangering everyone. But they want to make it seem like they weren't on. But then they do want to make it seem like he was able to set off bombs if he wanted to. That doesn't make any sense. And then they said they found a drone in his car, but the memory card was missing. So they theorized, yeah, some investigation, right? Well, it's a story, so creatively they said, well, he was probably using the drone and looking at his phone for the footage in real time. He didn't need any damn memory card. But, it could, being that the FBI investigated the drone, took out the memory card and kept it, while saying that there was no memory card. And you saw that happen many times in the past, that the FBI did such a thing. And that's what they're good at, planting evidence and hiding evidence, which brings me to the 8 casings that were found on the rooftop. You all saw the full body cam video where the one officer at the start of the video, around minute 4 or 4:20, he goes, oh, I see casings, right? 2, 3, 5. He counted a total of 5. Now for 20 minutes after that, nobody finds any casings, but suddenly some other guy goes, hey, I found 3 more casings. 20 minutes later, right? So it's a rooftop, it's a very limited area, you have like 7 people. And only after 20 minutes did they suddenly realize there's 3 more casings somewhere that they found, making a total of 8. Now, obviously, if you understand the 351 bullet theory, that tells you that they have to cover up for 3 bullets, and that's why they planted, in my opinion, 3 casings to get to number 8, right? That's what they wanted in the story, because it's a story. Now, some media outlets reported about some device that was at the rally on the day that President Trump was shot, that also went to the house of Crooks before the rally, then to the rally, but also prior to that was at a FBI field office or nearby in D.C. Now, well, that's not suspicious at all, right? Who actually goes to Washington, D.C., the rally, and also the home of Crooks, who, before the rally, nobody ever heard of this guy, right? What a coincidence. But that's not even discussed by the FBI. Why? Why are they completely ignoring that? They're also ignoring his social media messages on Gab and elsewhere, where it's very pro-Biden. This guy was like all in with the globalist agenda, anti-Trump, all of that. And the FBI also said that he was a person that really liked shooting, and it started like a hobby, and then he became more committed. I don't even know what that means, right? He became more committed. Committed to what? Shooting more bullets or what? It's just very bizarre. They're really trying to make this guy seem like some kind of a genius, deranged individual that was highly intelligent and hacking computers and buying firearms and explosive materials. like the Jackal. Have you seen that movie? Yeah, like some kind of a super spy. What a joke, right? This was a deranged loner who was obviously handled by someone, maybe the guy that went to the FBI field office and the home of Crooks. I think they planted a lot of stuff in his home while he was at the rally. I also believe they took the memory card. They don't want to talk about the scope on the AR-15 because if it didn't have a scope, the accurate first 3 shots are very difficult to explain. As I mentioned in the 351 bullet theory, the first 3 shots were measured, calm, and the 5 after that were a wild spray. Consistent with firing an AR-15 and you're not really a good shot. It's kind of like a spray, not everything is grouped together. Whereas the 3 first shots came from somebody who had a lot of time to aim and who was calmly firing 3 shots, perfectly grouped together, going in the exact same direction and path, right? So we're talking about the 5 other bullets being all over the place, left high, left low, right high. And that is consistent with people who said that Crooks was not a good shot. In high school, he was known for that. He was just a guy that sucked at everything. And maybe he was teased, I don't know, but to then come out to make this guy seem like he's in Mensa or something. What a joke. And how about that encrypted stuff? That's also not something people just pick up, especially if you don't have many friends. He was a loner. The FBI said his family was his only social circle. Usually people that are really good at encrypting and stuff, they're not loners. They're part of a hacking gang. And they have people that actually teach them the ropes, right? Early on. And even in the gaming where Crooks was playing games, he didn't even interact with other people. So someone obviously told him how to use encrypted stuff. And I think that's the same person that told him to buy explosive materials or whatnot, because that's another thing about the explosives. They said at his home they found explosive materials. I mean, that could be fertilizer, that could be anything. And they didn't say IEDs, but they did say IEDs when they talked about what they found in his car, right? So, very interesting. So the story has so many holes in it, so much is missing, so much has not been investigated. They didn't talk about the empty sniper room right at the shooter's 4 o'clock up high. I mean, they could have shot Crooks at any time, right? But how come that room was empty? Or was that where the lead sniper was to fire the first 3 shots? Maybe that's why they're not even talking about it, because they don't want to talk about it, because then people start wondering. So they leave a lot of stuff out, and the stuff that they leave out is the stuff that we need to investigate more, and other people. Now, Speaker Johnson, he's an embarrassment. He set up a task force, and he put all these amateurs on the task force, and he ignores some of the reps out there that actually have military experience. One of them is even a Navy SEAL. And he's putting some rhinos on that task force. So that task force is not going to do anything, let me tell you. And the fix is in. But it's true that this FBI cover story, the lone gunman, the genius, the highly intelligent Crooks, who is also a cyber hacking expert and of course a marksman, right? Because this guy was like aiming at a cop and he was shouting at the people nearby. He suddenly gets on his belly, delivers 3 perfect shots, one of them a headshot. Who believes that crap, right? Who believes that? Well, the FBI thinks everybody's like a dummy, right? And if they have a good story and the media puts it out there, that's why the call had like 30 media outlets of various kinds. And then it gets on Wikipedia, and Wikipedia is the BS encyclopedia, right? Should be called Wiki Goebbels. or wiki lies, right? Because the stuff that's out there still about January the 6th, or like I said, the kidnapping plot over Whitmer, just everything, even Russiagate, they're still lying about it over there. But you get the media to say all of that, then Wikipedia, then of course the mainstream media keeps on repeating it. Everybody keeps on repeating it. And so notable is also that the FBI wants to interview President Trump for a victim statement, like what he saw and I guess what he felt, and obviously it could be an ambush, that they suddenly start talking about something else, trying to catch him in a false statement or something else. The way they ambushed Mike Flynn in 2017 at the White House. That was like a couple of FBI guys showing up like they're friends, right? Hey, Mike. And Mike, obviously, Mike Flynn is not the sharpest knife in the drawer, right? He walked right into it. Well, Trump is a different animal. He will not let them entrap him, so he's very cautious. He knows who he's dealing with here, right? The FBI. So sad. Why can't they just be the good guys, right? Is it really that difficult? And the FBI, ever since they got the powers to be like an intel agency after 9/11, it's like all they do right now. It's not anymore about facts and, real investigations. It's about stories and narratives and raw data and spying and counter intel and embedding people and spying on the inside and actually creating crimes and scenarios, creating chaos and events. That's not what we want from the FBI.